Hi, my name is Elliot Veith, and I will be presenting constitutional rights within disaster policies. It is important to note the principles of the Constitution in order to fully understand its impact concerning disaster policy. The Constitution of the United States is written under 7 principles that provide the foundation of our government. The 7 principles are as follows: popular sovereignty, republicanism, federalism, separation of powers, balance of power, limited government, and individual rights. The Bill of Rights consists of the first 10 amendments to the Constitution. The Bill of Rights was created in order to ensure the personal rights of the citizens of the United States. The Bill of Rights are as follows: freedom of religion, speech, press, assembly, and petition, the right to keep and bear arms in order to maintain a well-regulated militia, no quartering of soldiers, freedom from unreasonable searches and seizures, right to due process of law, freedom from self-incrimination, double jeopardy, right to a speedy and public trial, right of trial by jury in civil cases, freedom of excessive bail, cruel and unusual punishment, other rights of the people, and powers reserved to the states. My take on the Constitution and the citizen. Citizens who fall victim to disasters must know the importance of exercising their rights during the chaotic time. A few of the related amendments include: First Amendment. Citizens are protected under law to voice their opinions on disaster response. The media has the right to cover the disaster and disperse the information regarding the disaster to the rest of the country. The Second Amendment. Looting and rampant crime is a common occurrence during disasters. Citizens have the right to bear arms and protect themselves and their property from criminals. The Fifth, Sixth, Seventh, and Eighth Amendments. Each of these amendments concern the court system and those involved. People accused of a crime during disasters must maintain the same rights as someone accused in non-disaster circumstances. My take on the Constitution and the state. The 10th Amendment is where we begin to see the role of the local and state governments. The amendment reads: the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. Bottom-up implementation. The ideal implementation pattern for disaster response, as we have learned, is bottom-up. This amendment can be used to interpret how the local and state governments are in charge of the duties not given to the federal government and should be the first mechanisms of authority in disaster situations. My take on the Constitution and the federal government. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 1 of the Constitution of the United States outlines how the federal level of government is supposed to play a supportive role in disaster response. The clause reads: the Congress shall have power to lay and collect taxes, duties, imposts and excises, to pay the debts and provide for the common defense and general welfare of the United States. But all duties, imposts, and excises shall be uniform throughout the United States. Once the disaster has become too overwhelming for the local and state governments alone, the state governor should request for federal assistance. The federal government's job is then to provide the necessary resources to resolve the disaster and provide aid to those in need. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 1 grants the federal government the power to step in and provide the resources necessary to restore a secure homeland. The guiding force in all this is the American Bar Association. They adopted 12 principles in order to ensure that the rule of law be maintained during times of disaster so that justice may prevail in times of chaos. From their website, they read: the principles include support of proactive planning by the legal community before a major disaster strikes, collaboration of justice system actors, respect for adherence to constitutional rights and protections, compensation to extent permitted by law of those affected by a major disaster, equitable and fair distribution of government assistance, pro bono emergency legal assistance, disaster planning by lawyers, and more. These are my references used.